Is Love is Blind real or fake? The creator, the producers, and many of the cast members really want us to believe that what's happening is real and real love.
And I think what we saw very quickly were these very genuine connections that people were making.
But is it? Welcome to Philosophy All Along, where we think deeply about the things we love. So today I want to talk with you about something that's a little outside of my usual experience. My spouse loves Love is Blind. And so I decided to sit down and watch season 6. Holy cannoli.
You had your moment. With my heart broken.
What I thought was really interesting was the reunion, which, let's be honest, was intense. There was so much happening.
Waiting for your ass at 6 a.m. is what I should.
Hasn't been like a I'm sorry. Bill hangs out with. She mentioned.
I don't hang out with him.
Crying after he broke up with me, and I said, I feel gaslighted, and I was heartbroken.
When I had a decision to make.
I don't recall saying.
I had a whole thing planned.
But the thing that really stuck out in my mind was there was so much discussion and so much of an insistence that the show was real, that what was happening was real, that people's real lives were being impacted in the show.
My gosh, I don't want to lose this person, and I want to continue this journey with this person, and I want to marry this person. That's all real.
It's not true.
The hosts in particular really were insistent that we, the audience, believe that what was happening was a real something. And they really wanted to suggest to us that those cast members who perhaps weren't taking it as seriously, who were taking it as an opportunity to forward their careers, were doing a disservice to the reality of the show. I think we as the viewers know that there's ways in which it's real and ways that maybe it's not. Let's go ahead though and look at what some of the evidence that suggests it's not really real. And then let's look at maybe how it really is. So there's obviously the obvious, which is the fact that it's on TV. It's an entertainment. We know that, we watch it, we embrace that fact. And the result of that is, of course, there's a lot of editing. There's a lot of stuff that we don't see and things that they make sure that we do see so that it tells us a narrative. But there are things that maybe we have less access to that come from the cast members themselves telling us that we have reason to believe that it isn't as real as it seems. Perhaps one of the most concerning is that some cast members have reported that there's kind of a push on alcohol that their producers are really trying to get them to drink, and that there's even been instances where they've kind of denied them like food and water. I don't know if that's an attempt to like make people hangry.
Saying that I'm a pick-me girl, you're the pick-me girl.
And I can't verify it, but that could definitely be a thing. I think probably the strongest piece of evidence that what we're seeing here isn't real is the fact that we have cast members who, especially by, these later seasons, these are people who are really trying to get on a show specifically in order to kind of forward their careers. And not all of them by any stretch, but it's probably become more so as the show has gone on, right? Influencers who want kind of their moment to expand their base and their viewership. We see that happen where it gets pretty tense in that season 6 reunion when Trevor, we find out, isn't quite the sweetie that we thought he was. We find out that he has been saying all these loving things, Chelsea and the pods, but before he had gone in and after he had gone in, he's got a love interest outside that he's telling that I love you, etc., etc. So that seems to suggest that he knows it's fake, and he even makes a statement in his text. And I can't help but wonder how they got those texts.
I love you more than anything in this world, and I'm going to marry you. I hope you know how much I love you and had to pretend that this wasn't real life.
Okay, that's all some fairly strong evidence in addition to, and this has been pointed out by a fair number of people, wow, everyone there is pretty attractive.
Oh, I know. She's so hot.
In a socially acceptable kind of a way. If the show is about love being blind and you're kind of guaranteed to, have this grand reveal, you're going to know that the person isn't someone that our society generally views as unattractive, well, then are you really taking much of a risk? Sometimes I think it would be the most fun if the show actually didn't do the reveal until after people have actually said, I do, and it's like officially kind of a legally binding thing. And then they're having to find out if they need an annulment afterwards. I guess we could call the show The Annulment. So I'm going to go ahead and trademark that right now. So anyways, let's look at the thing that really stood out in my mind during that reunion show, which was the tense moment with Sarah Ann. Now, there's a lot of people who don't like Sarah Ann. That's fine. But I couldn't help but think that the showrunners, the producers, and the hosts came particularly hard after Sarah Ann. Like, really, you know, they'll kind of protect characters who do really kind of unpleasant or like really questionable things in some form or fashion. But they really hammered away at Sarah Ann and Jeremy. And I thought that was interesting in part because Sarah Ann, I think, made the mistake of not just kind of making the choices that she makes in regards to her relationship with Jeremy, but she also made the mistake of putting out a video in which she talks about the show being entertainment. Now, she doesn't come after the show. She was, by her lights, putting out an advertisement.
This is a reality television. It is meant to entertain you. And I think that's exactly what we're doing. We didn't miss with this one, baby.
So she puts that out. And so they put that clip up on the reunion. And they really come after her about it. And I think that her doing that is part of the reason why the producers and why the hosts were willing to come at her as hard as they were, that there was like absolutely no sympathy whatsoever for her and for Jeremy, in part because Sarah Ann did that. In other words, she made the mistake of challenging the fundamental premise of the show.
And I want to marry this person. That's all real.
Whether it was accidental or not, didn't matter to them. That the show really needs us, the viewers, to be like, this is real love, this is an experiment. We're going to find out if love is in fact blind, that they're testing that fundamental hypothesis, and that she made that mistake, and that they're going to show everybody into the future. If you go around acting like this is entertainment and reality TV as opposed to an experiment in which people are finding out that this is true love and love is actually blind, we're going to crush you. So the thing, though, that was interesting is just she even says there during the reunion, well, I was putting out entertainment of my own, right? Like, I know this is real. I know that real love is happening here, but people are also watching it for entertainment purposes, and I was trying to be entertaining. So we have like entertainment on top of entertainment now happening. So it has this like meta level entertainment reality TV thing that's happening where people are putting out entertainment about the entertainment that we're watching, which is all supposed to be real. All right, well, not to get too much into the weeds about it. Those are all some of the things that leave us in the position of going, well, wait a minute, is it in fact real? Between the editing, characters themselves saying that they're really trying to get us drinking, characters saying, well, this is entertainment. The fact that we know it's entertaining, all right, great. Is there evidence that it's real? Sure. The fact that there's couples that are still married, right? And by virtue of sharing those experiences together, it's brought them together, they fall in love. And that is a not insignificant number of people who through this, if not experiment, through this engagement, right, through this process that they go through, that some of them really do find someone that they want to be with, shares their values and their joys, and I think they're also a little trauma bonded through.
I know I mentioned a vasectomy. I never ended up going on birth control. He never got a vasectomy.
So that seems to be very strong evidence that there is at least a real component. So what I want to suggest to you as we think about, you know, its reality or not, really just kind of for fun, is I do think that it has a very real component. But it's not real in the way that we think of reality if we mean like, oh, just kind of going out in the world and that world kind of not being impacted by what people view in an entertainment sense. What I mean is that it is a reality that is based upon and dependent on our reality as viewers. That we kind of have the base reality here in our kind of mundane, not being filmed world. And their world, their reality sits on top of it and is dependent on it. In other words, the reality of Love is Blind needs us to view, interact, and engage with it for their reality to exist at all. It's almost kind of like maybe the Matrix or something like that, a reality that to exist has to be getting juice from, right? Someone has to be powering the computers that create the Matrix, right? So in this case, we are the battery that powers the show.
In order to change a human being into this. No.
And we are powering their relationships and their engagements with each other. That doesn't make it less real. It means that their hyper reality, their reality in which the distinction between fantasy, TV and entertainment and reality, that gets blurred. Well, also their hyper reality is one that is dependent on our reality to exist. It's a whole new reality born through not just their experiment, but through their engagement with the viewers. So I think a way of thinking it might be like with the royals over in Britain. They are very conscious of what people are going to say and do in regards to their relationships. They get married in this kind of closed circle. They engage with each other under the awareness that we are going to be watching what they do and commenting. And so there's never anything that they do that isn't either A, kind of in order to garner that media attention, or B, at least aware of it. Even when they're trying to rebel from it, they're like, I refuse to be part of that media attention. I'm not going to make my decision based on it. That's still a decision informed by the trying to deny media attention or trying to defy it. So everything that they're doing is, in fact, kind of emergent from the viewership of the people who are so keenly invested in what's happening. It can't be separated from that. And I think that that's what's happening with Love is Blind. It is very real. It's just a reality that's dependent on our reality. And if we stopped watching and participating, yeah, it would kind of poof, disappear. But there would still be strands that continue on, presumably people who continue to be married and kind of came out of that. It'd be kind of like if the monarchy over in Britain was dissolved, right? The marriages themselves wouldn't be dissolved, but that kind of hyper reality above, right, dependent on sitting on top of our reality, it would just kind of disappear. That doesn't make it less real. It just makes it dependent on us for its existence. All right. So what do you think? What did you get out of the show? And in terms of these arguments about it being real, what did I miss? Did I miss anything important? If you liked it, please go ahead, like it, put in a comment, subscribe. It really helps out. Share it with others who might be interested. And I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.
It's wild shit, girl. I feel like this is Janet from another planet. Everybody
this
on
season is crazier than the other seasons.
Crazy.